Hello everyone. As we begin the 7th week of our course, I wanted to give you a brief introduction to the unit and a couple of things to highlight for you as you prepare your assignment this week. For the past couple of weeks, we've been deeply involved in talking about population health, building process capabilities, and how organizations are looking for ways to care for entire populations, not just people who are sick. So we explored the data needs, the type of data that is being used, how data is being analyzed, and all for the purpose of looking for gaps in care. So they're looking for ways to set up programs and interventions so that they can work on these gaps and address the individual needs of their patient populations. So we've been at a pretty detailed level looking at these specific patient care processes. This week we will move up to the 30,000 foot level and take a look at some of these same questions from a leadership perspective. So this is a different perspective from big data, genomics, and some of the precision medicine topics we've been talking about in previous units. Other courses in the Health Informatics program also discuss leadership. For this unit, we're going to be looking at leadership specific to our topic of providing accountable care. So what kind of leadership is needed to provide accountable care, and how will those leaders be using data and analytics to look at operations, quality, and bringing their organizations through to meeting the overall strategic goals that they have? So this week we will be focusing on two main things. First of all, I want you to understand the value of leaders refining their approach so that they can effectively lead through these transformational changes. So we're talking about approach, and secondly, then we're talking about how are leaders going to be using data to provide accountable care. The readings for this week provide a number of different leadership approaches. So as you read them, you may recognize some of these approaches as things you've seen in organizations you're familiar with, or you may think that some of your organizations could actually benefit from some of these type of approaches. So a few things for you to keep in mind as you read the articles and watch the videos this week. First of all, in the Cotter article on accelerating, keep in mind that we're now taking a more strategic viewpoint this week. So Cotter is presenting a big idea. Think about how this might actually work in a healthcare organization. So the question is, how can organizations accelerate and be successful with these changes? Secondly, we're going to look at the question of what types of leaders are needed to be effective in providing a patient-centered approach. This is not a typical approach that healthcare organizations have had, so it's a major paradigm change for them. So we'll take a look at a couple of different leadership styles. I've got several articles that give you a flavor for some of them that we've talked about. Each time I teach this course, some people come up with some very interesting articles on other types of approaches too. So this isn't meant to be a complete list of approaches, but rather some examples. You may find others as you're working on this unit. So I've provided some material from Dr. Edgar Schein, who is an expert in organizational culture and organizational development. He will discuss helping, the topic of helping, and what leaders will need to do in healthcare to change the culture and to move into this new paradigm of patient-centeredness. So there you will also find a couple articles on servant leadership and other types of approaches. Third, to pull all of this together, we will look at a specific case of leadership related to patient experience. So I suggest that you watch the video by Dr. Merlino last. Read the other articles first, then move into this video. And what you will see here is a specific example of how Cleveland Clinic developed a new leadership role called the the Chief Patient Experience Officer. Cleveland Clinic may have been the first or one of the first to have this role, and they did a tremendous amount of work to define it and develop it. So because they believe that patient experience is tied to patient engagement, they felt that this was a critical element to engaging their patients. And so they developed this new leadership role. You may want to take notes as you watch the video, or you may want to watch it more than once. What you'll see is a 40-minute presentation by Dr. James Merlino. So as you watch this video, a couple of things that you can think about, since you will have read the other articles previous to watching the video. Think about, is Cleveland Clinic an example of Kotter's idea for accelerating? In what ways does Kotter's idea on accelerating actually may be in place in the Cleveland Clinic example? You can also think about Dr. Shine's comments and his view on helping in leadership. Do you see those things evident in the Cleveland Clinic case as you're watching it and listening to Dr. Merlino? Thirdly, as you're watching the video, look and see what types of data Dr. Merlino uses to measure patient experience. Notice how he describes the studies they did on nurse rounding and physician communication. How does he approach using data to get behavior change within the organization? And notice what he says about qualitative data, which he calls verbatims. And what he means by that basically is patient comments. So overall, watch to see how Dr. Merlino applies what he has been talking about, what we've been talking about in terms of becoming data-driven, to his work in patient experience. I heard Dr. Merlino present this information in 2014 when I was at an analytics summit in Salt Lake City. He told us that he finds that people, and even physicians in particular, think that patient experience is kind of a soft and fuzzy subject and not particularly focused on hard data and applying analytics. But I think what you will see in the video, and what I was convinced of when I saw him in person, is that he's very data focused in his approach, and you'll find his material very compelling. As the video starts, just for a few seconds, it's in a foreign language, but don't be alarmed by that. After a couple of seconds, it quickly switches over to English, as he was presenting abroad. The first 40 minutes of the video are the important part, his presentation. After that, a Q&A follows, which you may want to continue to watch, or it's not necessary to watch it to do the assignment. So that's up to you. For your assignment this week, then, you will choose one of the discovery questions and post your response. My hope is that each of the groups will pick a good variety of the DQs, and we'll get a very well-rounded discussion. As always, reach out if you have any questions about the assignment. Look forward to our discussion this week, and enjoy the week.